What's quiet?
Power. So my name's Lisa Fitz, and I'm going to be your moderator this evening. This event is hosted by AAUW, the Tillamook branch, which is the American Association of University Women. I'm going to ask Andrea Goss, the branch's president, to give a few words.
Thank you. It's co-hosted by AAUW and the Headlight Herald. I saw a lot of you just 2 days ago when we had our big fundraising event, the Wine and Chocolate, out at the port to raise money for girls in Tillamook County. So that is what American Association of University Women does. We help women and girls locally and nationwide in many, many, many ways. One way I think it's important to know who your commissioners are and to select the right one for the county. And the only way you can do that is to listen to them and hear what they have to say. And so that is why AAUW is helping with this event. There are some brochures out in the hallway about AAUW, and that's all I'll say. And we hope to see some of you join us. Thanks.
And then, as Andrea mentioned, our co-host is the Tillamook Headlight Herald, Joe. What do you do, run out of the room? Okay. Are you sure you don't want to say anything? Okay. Well, in case you didn't hear that, he thanked us for the food. AAUW puts on a lot of food. So we are really lucky to have this partnership with the Headlight Herald, and we really look forward to these events every couple of years. We also have a new edition this year. It's being videotaped by Jane Scott, and you'll be able to view it on TCTV and Charter Cable Channel 4, or you can go to tctvonline.com, and there's an on-demand selection. It's also going to be linked to the Headlight Herald front page on the website. So there are multiple ways to watch this evening, in case you want to go back and revisit the next 2 hours of your life. But mostly it's to tell your friends. We'll be posting it on Facebook, because this is, as Andrea said, really important. This is about the only way that you get to see all of them in a row, or to come to these forums and to hear how they respond against one another is very informative, and hopefully helps you form an educated opinion about who you're going to vote for. So, I'm sure there's a ton of people to thank. Should I thank anybody? Besides all of you wonderful people for showing up. What a fabulous turnout. And again, there's plenty of food in the back. The restrooms are down the hall. The logistics are important. The format for this evening is fairly structured. Each candidate will have 3 minutes to give their opening remarks. We will then move into the questions portion of the event. There will be 1 minute per candidate per question. If there is a question that appears to be a little more complicated, we may go up to 1.5 minutes. I'm sure everyone will say they're all complicated, but you can say a lot in a minute. And so then we'll wrap up with a 2-minute closing remark by each candidate, at which point they may choose to rebut, to reframe, or simply to give you the last words you're going to hear from them before you go to your ballots in a week. So I have all the questions up here. If you have questions in your hands, please raise them, and one of the runners will come get them. At 6:30, I will ask again one more time, just in case some of the responses or their opening remarks have prompted something in you. We'll make sure you have another opportunity to provide questions. Every question may not get read. There are multiples up here. If you don't hear your version, it's simply because I went with a different version. But right now, we do have the potential to answer every question that I have. So I think with that, if there aren't any questions from folks, do a little bit of self-care. You're going to be sitting for a while, so if you need to stand up, stretch, do that. If you need something to eat or drink, do that. And the candidates, well, that's part of the test. Can they handle interruptions? They're going to have a lot when they're in office, so this is a good way to start. So if there are no questions, then we will get started, and I'll just start at this end of the table for the introductions, and I'll start at that end of the table for the summations. And so, Adam?
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, I did not mean to just do that to you. I did not mean to throw you off your game.
That's cool.
So I forgot. We have a timer. At the 1 minute mark in your speech this evening, she will show that. She'll show a 30-second, a 10-second, and then you're done. I didn't know how to draw this, so it's actually the word done. Done. Okay? And I'm a little bit of a stickler about that, so I'll give you a second to wrap up, but that's going to be it.
As am I.
Now, Mr. Schwindt, if you'd like to start.
Okay.
For real.
For real. In the last place they used a maraca.
Yes. Oh.
For those of you who haven't had the opportunity to meet, my name is Adam Schwindt. I am born and raised here in Tillamook. Spent my years at South Prairie Elementary, Tillamook Junior High School, and Tillamook High School, and then going off to Pacific University in Forest Grove, where I studied music, and with a minor in political science. After a number of jobs, ended up becoming a music teacher, for some time in the Portland metro area, sometime in the Midwest in Iowa, and then up to Seattle. When the time came that my wife and I wanted to begin a family and decide where we were going to spend our lives, there really wasn't any question. I wanted to come home. I wanted to be back where my family was, back where I had been given so much from my community. So at that point, I did things a little bit differently. Usually you move someplace because you have a job. Well, I moved back and didn't have a job. So I actually ended up going to work for the Headlight Herald in the advertising and business side. One of the things that I had done, however, throughout my life was actually real estate investment. And so when I got to the point that I wanted to start my own business, I started a real estate company, actually in between Manzanita and Nehalem, called Coast Real Estate Professionals. So you may have seen my name on all kinds of different signs trolling around the county. So as we go on into figuring out why we're running for commissioner, and that's a question I get a lot, is why are you running for commissioner? Probably the biggest reason is, I think in a lot of these forums that we have heard, the biggest question is, what are we going to do about housing? Housing is the biggest issue that I think a lot of us hear about, probably in all our conversations with folks in the community. And I believe that if we're going to address housing as one of the #1 issues, we need someone who does it every day, who doesn't need to take the time to learn about Oregon land use laws, or who doesn't need to take the time to learn about zoning ordinances. Certainly, there's always room to learn, but to be able to start off the ground and be able to walk in right after swearing in and begin working on this issue, I think is a huge part, and one of the huge reason that I'm running, and a huge reason I think I'm the most qualified candidate. So as we move forward, I thank you all for being here. Thank you so much, AAUW. Thank you so much to the Headlight Herald, and I look forward to answering any of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Kerry Madsen. I've been a Tillamook County resident for more than 30 years and was a Bay City resident for 11. You probably recall possibly seeing me and my husband 20 years walking our St. Bernards around Kilch's Point or elsewhere around town. I grew up in Nehalem and attended Neoconnie School District, graduating as valedictorian of my class. At the end of my 9 years in 4-H, I was able to serve as an Oregon 4-H ambassador at the National Convention. I have a passion for learning, and with the support of many local scholarships and 4 years of hard work, I earned a bachelor's degree and 2 minors, bachelor's degree in business management and 2 minors from Southern Oregon University. After a few years away, I chose to come home with a greater appreciation of what the place we call home. I've been a public servant since 2004 when I began work at the Tillamook County Assessor's Office as a property appraiser trainee. eventually being promoted into the position I hold now, Property Appraiser 3. In 2012, I ran for Tillamook County Assessor. While I may not have been elected, I found my passion for government. In my free time, I've actively sought out opportunities in which I could use my skills and life experiences to help members of the community. In 2011, in November, I was appointed to the Bay City Council and served until August 2017 when I relocated outside the city. In 2011, I volunteered and began serving on the Board of Garibaldi Budget Committee. Here I was able to continue to gain budget experience, assisted in expanding diversified revenue streams, and expanding on how others governments save, grow, and thank you to the American Association of Women and the Headlight Herald for putting together this candidate forum. But more importantly, thank you for coming out here tonight. Without you guys here, it wouldn't be much of a forum. If given a chance for your vote, I would represent all citizens of Tillamook County and move forward concepts that are supported by the majority. As a community, we need to discover what we have in common rather than pointing out our differences or difficulties. Weighing out all options and forming a consensus is a strength, one of my strong suits, and I will ensure each voice is heard. The next commissioner of Tillamook County must be adaptable to the concerns of our citizens today as well as the preparing for tomorrow. We need diversity in our economy while supporting our main economic drivers of farm, forest, fisheries, and now tourism. Tillamook County deserves a commissioner that understands this balance, and with my local experience serving as a public servant for the last 14 years, this has prepared me for any challenge a commissioner could face. Please vote for Kerry Madsen Fleischer as your next Tillamook County Commissioner, and thank you.
Good evening. I'm Walt Poulter. I've lived in Tillamook County.
Speakers, please stand up. I agree. Well, they can do that, but they won't have the benefit of the microphone. So if it's a hearing issue, if you could just move it a little bit closer.
Is that better?
Is that better? Oh, well.
Okay.
Would you rather hear him or see him? Hear him. Okay.
Okay.
You can stand up and hold it.
I'm Walt Poulter. I have lived in North Tillamook County my entire life. My Patty and I have been married for 46 years, raised 3 children on our family farm. While our children were still in school, I served on the Native County School Board for 9 years. I also went on the Budget Committee. Two of our children continue to live in Tillamook County as of today, as their parents and grandparents, spanning 5 generations. I always felt 4-H was a strong educational organization and healthy for children. For 10 years, Patty and I led the White Clover Cattle serving North County. For 18 years, I have served on Tillamook County Soil and Water Board. This experience has helped me develop my skills solving complex problems during the negotiation, including accountant, lawyers, and state environmental groups. If asked, my family and friends would state that some of my strongest qualities are common sense, honesty, listening to others respectfully, considering all points of view. I'm not afraid to take a tough stand for what's right, just, and cost-effective. As your next county commissioner, I will fight to ensure that the county operates on a balanced budget and focuses on continuing to concerns of the community, such as fishing, farming, and forest practice and tourism, as well as our roads, drainage, tide gates, and the growing problems of affordable housing. Having farmed for over 40 years, my work ethics have been continuing forward until the job's done and done right. As your next county commissioner, I intend to work hard to honor the hard work of the citizens of Tillamook County. One of the most important issues facing Tillamook County is affordable housing. This is not an easy solution problem. It takes the entire community, financial institutions, and working with government agencies, but lobbying for subsidies to ensure that affordable housing continues on task. Our entire county, north, central, south, are facing this issue of housing for working class people. As your next county commissioner, I will work hard on the affordable housing problems to cooperate with all the above agencies. Maintaining a balanced budget is another concern of mine. Recently attended the county budget meeting. This has given me a great understanding of the following of each of the complex problems of each department. At the same time, you must be aware of the future of the Tillamook County. As a commissioner, I would take long looks at each department and additional spendings. The infrastructure, roads, drainage, tide gates are going on to another needed issue in the thing. I believe that the funding for the county roads should remain at the same level with the bond TLT or state funding. Our county, as many roads have bridges maintained, I would work hard to ensure that the funding at the public works is maintained. And the industry in the Tillamook County, I think we need to explore some more industry coming into the Tillamook County. I feel as though that the board has the capability of doing that. Thank you for your time.
In case you've never been on this side, well, I don't need a microphone, but in case you've never been on this side of the table, seeing the little signs come up telling you have 1 minute, 30 seconds, 10 seconds is a tad daunting, but this is about the only way that we can just make sure. So bear with everybody. So Mary Fitz.
Good evening. My name is Mary Faith Bell. I'm the Director of Communications and Marketing for Tillamook Regional Medical Center. I've been there for about 4.5 years. There, I serve on the Citizens Advisory Board with the seated commissioners. I'm also the Public Information Officer for the hospital. Prior to working at the hospital, I was the Editor and General Manager of the Headlight Herald. And that was where I really learned all of the amazing things that are going on in Tillamook County, because we had to be all over, north and south, and I came to understand the job of county commissioner because I attended their meetings weekly and their workshops before the meetings, and over the years I spent many hours with commissioners talking about what they were working on because I was writing stories about it. I also was a small business owner in former life, and when my son was born, I started a cleaning business because I wanted to work and take my baby with me. So I did that for 5 or 6 years, so I have some understanding of what it means to be an entrepreneur and a small business owner. In my unpaid experience, I'm a TVCC Board of Education member here. I have been appointed twice and elected twice to the college board. I serve on the budget committee, so I have several years of experience with governmental budgets. I'm also on the Tillamook Area Chamber Chamber of Commerce Board. I've served in all of the executive positions there, including president. I'm on the Tourism Advisory Committee of Tillamook County. I have been since its inception. I was appointed by the commissioners. I'm a graduate of the Ford Institute of Rural Community Leadership Program. And in my spare time, I serve dinners to the homeless and hungry on Wednesday nights. And I lead a women's group, a women's support group, where I volunteer as a coach or mentor to women and to other women. And currently, I am mentor to 7 women who are doing amazing things with their lives. And other than my son, who is awesome, that's probably the thing that I'm most proud of. I love people, I love hard work, I love problem solving and building relationships. And I entered this race because I have the desire to be of service. I have a vision of Tillamook County as an economically vibrant, livable area where young people will want to live because of our quality of life, and where they can find affordable housing, family wage jobs, or start a business of their own and raise their families. That's what I would like to work on. Thank you.
Can you guys hear me in the back?
Yep.
Yeah. All right, good. Thank you. Okay, my name is Poulter, and I want to be your next Tillamook County Commissioner. I would really like to thank, and I know there's a lot of AAUW representatives here in the room, I'd like to offer you a personal thank you from my wife and I. And by the way, if she gets up and walks out at some point during the evening and you know she's my wife, she's not hopefully walking out because she doesn't continue to support me. She works at the hospital and she's on call. So if she ends up going, you'll know that. I'd like to offer a personal thank you to AAUW for the positive impact that you had on my daughter's life when she attended the first tech track here in Tillamook in August of 2015. She continues to be enamored with science, and I really thank you for bringing that program to Tillamook. She was part of that first program. I'm a little technologically challenged tonight because my printer decided to give up the ghost. So as I'm standing up here and reading off of my technology, just know that I can adapt on the fly. So anyway, I echo all of the things these commissioners candidates said, and I feel that I provide a lot of what they would provide as well. I've already said I want to be your county commissioner. If elected, I'll be able to get right to work on day one. My years of work in the public sector, including at the city, county, state, and federal level positions, me as the best qualified candidate to serve you. My service to the community, which I live in, is evidenced each day as you drive through Tillamook, either by driving by the Tillamook Bike and Skate Park that my son and I advocated to place there for the kids. I tried to place it there for him, but he learned the government works too slow, and anyway, it takes too long to get something done. But it's out there after 12 years, and he's still enjoying along with the other kids of the community. I'm really proud of that. You can also see the other parks and buildings around the town through my work with the City Planning Commission. I served one term there. I'm fairly familiar with zoning and land use laws. In the county, I was actually the Measure 37 claims processor when I worked at community development, so I'm familiar with how government takings could impact you as landowners and how you should be entitled to relief under those. It's no longer Measure 37, it's Measure 49. But anyway, I was there during that process as well, so I do have that experience. Or as part of my involvement in the Port of Tillamook Bay's FEMA alternate projects and Southern Flow Corridor landowner preferred alternative project. I'm not asking for your vote so I can learn how to do the job of a county commissioner on the taxpayer's dime. My institutional knowledge of how Tillamook County governance works, my promise to provide nonpartisan representation, leadership, transparent governance, straight talk, dedication to engaging community stakeholders to work through collaborative solutions, all this will provide value to you for your vote. I'll be a staunch advocate for Tillamook County and will lobby state and federal officials to ensure they realize the impact their decisions have on our county, whether impacting our natural resources, farming, logging, fishing, or economic development, tourism, and housing. I have been invested in Tillamook County since my wife and I moved here in late 1999. I entered this race to continue this investment in the county. I'm asking for your vote to continue that investment in me. I have my flyers and cards at the back of the room so you can become more informed citizens. Thank you so much.
So, my name is David McCall. Excuse me, and I'd like to show you I'm not afraid to try something a little bit different. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you know, giving it a try is part of the process. I'm very open with you. I am not an Oregon native. I'm not a Tillamook native. I had no choice in the matter. When my great-grandparents were riding on their covered wagon, they decided to stop in Union County, South Dakota and become homesteaders. They didn't ask me if I thought that was a great place. Believe me, had they known how much easier it is to shovel snow in Tillamook County, they would have kept on going. So I'm originally from South Dakota. Once I graduated from high school, I moved to Washington, D.C. When I graduated from Georgetown University, I went abroad. It was the end of the Cold War, and I joined up with a Peace Corps-backed organization that sent me to Eastern Europe to help bring the concept of democracy and freedom to the people of former communist countries. I was placed in Hungary. I planned on being there for 2 or 3 years. I wound up spending half of my life in Hungary, 22 years. After 3 years with this program, I got involved in the waste management industry. That helped me become familiar with day-to-day people in several countries. I worked in the field. Eventually I started my own business. When I started, it was me and one part-time employee. Over the course of time, we wound up growing a lot very quickly. Eventually, I was overseeing 147 people. We were quite successful. Successful enough that the government decided they wanted it. And I was a victim of a stealthful nationalization process. Thanks to that process, I moved to Tillamook County in 2012. Since then, I have been your solid waste program manager. I've also been, and still am, a city councilor in Bay City. Many of you may know me through my work with the Tillamook Farmers Market. We've done a lot during the last few years. What I want to emphasize is the values that I hold very dear to me through this process that kept me going in Eastern Europe and keep me going here in Tillamook County every day. transparency, engagement, and the need to communicate well and involve other people. Through this process, we can bring about results and make sure that the results we bring about have buy-in from all the stakeholders, including those who we might not agree with all the time. There's a lot more to know about me, and I would encourage you to pick up my bookmark and look at my website where you can get a lot more information. Thank you.
So, those are your introductions. We're going to move into the questions now. Are there any additional questions out there? If there are, could someone come grab those questions? Someone's coming.